I moved to China, and here's why you should too. Hi world, hi YouTube, this is Sabrina in China. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Guys, today I will be sharing with you some reasons why you should move to China. In spite of all the China's bad talk, in spite of all the China's collapsing talk, in spite of all the China hate out there, today I will tell you why you should move to China. The first reason you should move to China is that life is peaceful here. Coming from a society where peace wasn't a priority, where peace wasn't valued, and then moving to a society where peace is an important aspect of their culture, a way of life, it makes such a big difference. And that's my favorite thing about living in China, how peaceful life is here. There are no protests on the streets. No one's breaking into buildings and destroying the very facilities that support them. And for me, being able to go to work, go back home safely, and not worried about my life, my safety as a woman is such an important thing to me. And I value that. You know, the state of the world right now is chaotic. So many things happening in the world right now. And being able to live in a place where peace is a priority, where things are peaceful, is so important. Having that peace of mind right now in China is one of the things I value the most. Here in China, I see people of all races, black people, white people, local people. I see people of various sexual orientation, gay people, straight people, bisexual people. And for some reason, these groups get along in peace. Do they all like each other? I am not sure if they like each other, but the point is they all seem to get along. No one is fighting on the streets based on sexual preferences. No one is fighting on the street based on race. No one is fighting on the streets based on their ethnic backgrounds. There are many ethnic groups here in China, and they don't seem to be protesting and fighting and burning the facilities that support them here in China. And having that peace of mind, having that peace, living in a peaceful state where peace is so valued and so important, is such a big deal to me right now. And that is why you should consider moving to China. Another reason why you should move to China is to change your way of thinking. Challenge your way of thinking. Challenge your beliefs of freedom. You know, in the West, we attach freedom to freedom of speech. That is like our biggest mantra when it comes to freedom. You know, they always criticize and mock Chinese people by saying, oh, they don't have freedom of speech, they can't criticize their government. But a lot of people don't spend time actually criticizing their governments. A lot of people actually do not care about their government. A lot of people in democracies, they don't even vote. They don't care about all of that, right? But since I moved to China, my idea and thoughts of freedom were challenged. Because what is having freedom if you're not able to live in peace? What is freedom if you don't have healthcare? What is freedom if you're living in fear? What is freedom if when you share your own opinions and thoughts, you're canceled? What is freedom if when you do share your thoughts and feelings, you're put on a blacklist and you're told you can't get a job because you supported that group? In the West, we see people divided across strong cultural lines. And if you're not supporting a particular group, you could be canceled. If you do support a particular group, you could be canceled. So what is the freedom of speech that they're selling to us in the West? What is the freedom of speech? So that is something you should consider moving to China for. Challenging your opinions and your thoughts and what it means and what freedom means. Are we only talking about political freedom, the right to vote? Are we talking about freedom of speech? Because I am not buying the freedom of speech theory in the West at this point. So I think you should move to China to challenge your own beliefs about democracy, about freedom. Because for me, I feel free. Another reason why you should consider moving to China is for the healthcare. In one video I did a few months ago titled, I have better healthcare in China, I took you guys to the hospital and I showed you that I spent only $11 to see a dermatologist. And that was without health insurance. Healthcare is affordable for anyone in China, regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your social status. You're able to access affordable healthcare that is timely and reliable. I wanted to see a specialist, a dermatologist, and I didn't need to wait for weeks or months on end to get this appointment, to set this appointment with a specialist. And in a country with 1.4 billion people, being able to do that is unbelievable. When you compare that to smaller countries where when you need to book a specialist, you have to wait for months on end to get an appointment. And as a foreigner, they are so kind. You all know my Chinese is not perfect yet. I'm not able to speak fluently as yet. And when I went to the doctor, they were so kind and so patient with me. And that has always been my experience in China whenever I visit the hospital. If you come to China and you want to work as a teacher, you're able to access health insurance, not only for you, but also for your family members. Another reason why you should move to China is for the ability to learn a new language. We all know China is connecting roads and bridges all over the world. Having the ability to speak Chinese will be so valuable for you. So if you move to China, learn the language, and then move back home, that will put you ahead of a lot of people and provide employment opportunities for you and connections for you back home. If you are smart about it, come here, learn the language, connect with local people, learn their culture, learn their way of life. I believe that when you finally move back home, you will be ahead. For me, I am studying Chinese seriously. I hope that by the end of next year, I will be at a higher level and I will be able to speak fluently, much better than I am right now. But that is something you should consider moving to China for, the language. Which leads me to the next reason why you should move to China, for business. You know, there is a lot of talk about the end of the made in China era and how China will not be the world's largest market in providing retail products and all of that. Guys, those are all China haters exaggerating everything. Check the back of your products. Check the back of your appliances. Most of them will say made in China. And I believe that if you move to China, you're able to speak the language and then able to connect with business people here, local manufacturers, local factories, get in contact with them. You will be in a pretty good position to start a business, to start an import-export business here in China. I know teachers that have moved to China and they have morphed into entrepreneurs just from moving to China. They learned the language, connected with business people, and they're doing huge business stuff. They're leading businesses that are thriving right now. So if you're business savvy, you want to get into business, you want to get into business, you want to connect with manufacturers, come to China, learn the language, and move forward.